Don't miss out on exclusive Dragon Ball Figuarts and a free shipping campaign for the end of November at Premium Bandai at the link in the description.
Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors, it's Steven here, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Figuarts review, where today we're going to be taking a look at, as it says on the brown box, Son Gohan Kid Era, or we can just talk about it as Kid Gohan. That's right, this one has quite a history to it. Way back when it first released, this one kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed due to a little event that happened due to the transportation. Basically, big storm happened when this was coming over by boat, and a lot of the shipping containers went overboard. Except Gohan. Yeah, actually, this one and the rest of the figures that were coming on over with it were found to be just fine and dandy, but they still had to check to see if it was good. So with such a long delay, and with this one being a p-bandai exclusive, prices went up. Folks were ditching their pre-orders, getting them from other sources, which you can only get it from p-bandai, so they only paid more getting it secondhand. Yeah, there were a lot of folks who were just tapping their feet, checking their emails to see when this would come in, and some just gave up hope. Well, now it's on the market, and folks are looking to see whether or not this one's going to be worth adding into their collection. Oh, that's the end of the intro. Because now we have so many Namek figures and so many other Saiyans. So, let's take a look to see whether or not Barnacle Boy here is worth adding into your collection. Once again, we're going to be using the Kid Goku buck, if you will, where the body is pretty much going to be the same. We know what the details are here. The folds in the clothing, pretty much going to be one for one here, except for some of the details are changed to account for Gohan instead of Goku, which you would expect them to do that. Now, for the 360 spin view, you know what? Hey, it is what it is here for the default head that I picked, but don't worry, we're going to be taking a look at both of the head sculpts here. Bofa? Yeah, both of those heads. Why? This is a 2-in-1 release, which is actually pretty rare. So what we have here is a release of Gohan as he looked both in the Saiyan Saga and the Namek Saga, pretty much the entirety of. So that's actually pretty rare and pretty ingenious on Bandai's part. But anyway, taking a look at the actual sculpt that we have here, taking a look at the faceplate, the default one for both of the heads, generally the application for the faceplates looks just fine, and they look about the same quality-wise for both of the heads. Nothing really sticking out, nothing looking like it doesn't fit in correctly. Generally, the quality control is rather solid there. And when it comes to the hair sculpt, it looks just fine as well. When we take a look at the articulation, the long hair may be something to keep in mind. Taking a look at the rest of the figure, we do have the little collar there that is on Gohan, and that has just a little bit of shading, which is just ever so slightly on the figure. Pretty much the rest of it, though, we are going to have the red belt, which is going to have a little bit of a black shading to it to enhance some of the details. And for the feet, this is going to be really the only criticism I have. It's just basically going to be unpainted plastic. Maybe a little bit of better detailing there would have served this figure better. But overall, I do think Gohan looks rather good. But when it comes to the size comparison, maybe some folks are going to have a complaint there. Basically, Gohan is going to be a repaint of the Kid Goku body, so you're going to see a lot of the same beats as you would there. I did switch out the head sculpts just because we actually have a point of articulation there, so let's start. So the rest of the hair here, we are going to have a ball joint where it plugs in, so yay, hinge movement, cool. Move the hair around, so that's good. Make sure not to break it. It does remind me a bit of Yamcha's hair, so something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and pop the faceplate off, just so this way it's easier to see what the joint system kind of looks like. So we do have a ball joint where the head sculpt plugs in, and then we have a hinge, and then a swivel for where that double hinge system plugs in. So Gohan is going to have some solid movement for the neck. Now, getting the faceplates to stay on, that's an entirely different story. That can be a little bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So Gohan can look that far up. We are going to get a little bit of a gap depending on how far you push it, that far down, and of course we can just reset and we can be a bit more reasonable. So you have a lot of different display options for Gohan depending on your preference if you hate gaps. So We do have a little bit of a butterfly hinge there where the arms connect into the body at the shoulders, so that's good. And then we are going to have swivels effectively where the shoulders plug in, so this way Gohan can spin his arms around if they are willing to cooperate with me. Yes, they are. So Gohan can spin his arms up like that. He can effectively T-pose. Basically, Gohan can spin his arms in any direction. We are going to have bicep swivels, which is good. Very good. And single hinge elbows. Neat. Now, because of the way the joints are structured, I have seen some folks be able to swivel the forearm. I wouldn't try it. It seems like it's going to break. For the wrists, they are rather small on the joints, but standard Figuarts style, we're going to have a plug into the forearm, a hinge, and then a ball joint where the wrists plug in. So we're going to be able to get the wrists to move that way for a hinge. You're going to have to redirect them, and then they'll move another way. So that's very good. Ab crunch, which is going to be on a ball joint and a hinge system. So you can make Gohan just a little bit taller. Not really, but we can twist and turn him from side to side, spin him all the way around if we need to, lower him back down. Do we have anything at the waist? It seems like there wants to be a bit movement there. You heard kind of a crack. It seems like whenever Gohan doesn't move for me for a little bit, then a little while later he will move and that joint will freeze up a bit. Don't know if that's a quality control thing, but it is what it is. So yes, you can see Gohan does spin around a little bit for me. And that's about all I got to say there. Doesn't really want to move otherwise. For the hips, so if you do have Kid Goku, then you kind of know what's going on here. We have ball joints, and they move that far forward, that far back. In the event that the leg piece pops off, you can just put this coverage piece back on, and you'll be good to go. That hasn't happened with this figure, but I have seen some folks report that. We do have a single hinge knee. For the ankles, since this is going to be Piccolo style of shoe, we are going to have ball joints, rather limited range of movement, and a single toe hinge. Okay, so that's about it. So very similar to the Kid Goku body, but not 100% identical. There were some things that had to be reworked to make Gohan more accurate, but it is what it is. Overall, I think it works. It's rather fair for Gohan. Just something to keep in mind whenever you're posing Gohan. Hide up those little discs. Yeah. Jazz hands. Accessories, and this is kind of one of those weird things that he comes with a good amount, but he doesn't really come with a whole heck of a lot. So we are going to get the 2 different head sculpts, which will bring about a total of 4 different faceplates. We're going to get quite a few different sets of hands. We're going to get a Dragon Radar, and we're going to get a Namekian Dragon Ball, the 1-star. Pretty odd that they didn't decide to give him the 4-star ball, considering, that's what Goku had. But anyway, here's going to be a look at all of the different faceplates that Gohan is going to come with, along with mixing and matching with the interchangeable head sculpts. So the name of the game here with Gohan is, well, pretty much angry. We're going to have a yelling face that, you've pretty much seen here, which is pretty good. We're going to have a smug-looking face, which is kind of the neutral one. No real emotion there except for smugness. We're going to have the teeth-gritting face. Okay, good. And we're going to have the infamous shocked or scared face, which Gohan is rather known for during this time period. We don't have a happy face. We don't have a somewhat a better direction for emotion face, if you will. All kind of just stern, scared, angry, which I don't necessarily think is all that great for this particular time frame for Gohan, considering he was a rather happy-go-lucky kid. Now, for the extra accessories that we're going to have, we do have the 1-star Namekian Dragon Ball, which we're not into the pearlescent phase just yet. So the translucent looks very good. Rather nice, and they don't have the quality control issues the Earth Dragon Balls have. Now, Gohan is going to come with a Dragon Radar and a hand dedicated to hold the Dragon Radar, which is good. The details, very nice, and they're even clear without using a macro lens to look at the details. Now, Gohan is going to come with a whole bunch of different hand parts. He's going to come with hand parts to recreate the Kamehameha. He's going to come with splayed hand parts. He's going to come with sort of karate hands and more splayed hands. So in total, it looks like there are going to be 4 sets of hands with a 5th one, so this way he can hold the Dragon Radar. Whew, yeah. So like I said, Gohan's going to come with a lot, but he's missing a sort of happy-go-lucky faceplate, and he doesn't really have an energy effect. No Masenko, no maybe charging Kamehameha. yeah, I feel like that makes the figure set feel a little light, but then at the same time, they could very well have just done 2 separate releases for Gohan and not included both head sculpts. But anyway, if you need extra things like stands or effect parts, I got videos to help you out there. Now let's go ahead and move on over to a size comparison with some other figures you just might have. I did a whole bunch of Saiyan reviews at once, except for the Great Ape Vegeta. We'll get to him very soon. And you can see just in general how big Gohan is going to be. Scale isn't necessarily the strong point for these childhood characters, but I do think that Gohan does blend in nicely with some of the other figures you might have on the shelf, especially depending on where you're going to put them. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Well, unfortunately, you're not going to get him for original MSRP anymore just because of, well, kind of like I said off at the top, there were a lot of folks who canceled their pre-orders somehow through the US p-bandai shop, and they looked elsewhere to get them, which, by the way, anywhere else you order, if you were to import, they're still getting them from their country's premium Bandai site. So if something goes up on the US p-bandai site, just order it there because you're going to save yourself money. Just do it. Maybe a little bit of time because of delays, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, but just do it. Okay? All right. So anyway, yeah, prices are going up in the aftermarket, and Gohan's rather small, and quite frankly, he doesn't really come with a whole lot, especially when he's missing a happy faceplate, because Gohan, I think, is a rather happy character, and he doesn't have any effect parts. But I will say this much, Gohan, this figure, is rather cool, and he's an iconic character, especially for the Saiyan Saga and the Namek Saga. Now, what I will say is that if you do get this figure, you may get an itch to get a second one, which Bandai was pretty smart about. And maybe I did that. But anyway, yeah, Gohan, he's good, but I feel like there's some untapped potential here. And maybe, just maybe, that's because it's Gohan.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.